Hey again, everyone. It's the Wednesday evening edition of Weather for Weather Geeks here on October the 7th. We had a pretty nice day again today with some clouds and patchy fog to start. Kind of a mixed bag of clouds and sun for a lot of the afternoon hours. And tonight's going to be another pretty comfortable, pretty tranquil night across the valley. I want to start out this evening with a quick word on the northern lights. I mentioned this on the news this evening and on social media earlier on. Pretty good geomagnetic storm ongoing, and this means that the northern lights can be visible sometimes farther south than usual. I don't think there's a real good chance that you can see them at our latitude tonight, but there's an outside chance. Certainly a better chance as you go up into Michigan, northern New York, and up into Canada as well. But if you live in a dark countryside location away from light pollution, well after sunset, after it's good and dark, take a look at the northern sky. Outside chance that you could see kind of a sheen from the auroras. So always kind of interesting when that happens. It's rare that we get to see them this far to the south. And again, don't want to emphasize this too much. I think it's a pretty small chance. All right, we're a week into October. Here's a look at the temperature anomalies for North America so far this October. It's been a warmer than average month so far up in central Canada, parts of the Northwest, the Rockies. Cooler than average south and plains, parts of the East Coast. Now, locally, it looks like we've been below average, but we are actually here in Youngstown about a degree above average for the month so far. And I suspect that anomaly will continue to grow over the next week because we're going to have more mild temperatures. Sure, there's a cool down coming at the start of the weekend, but more often than not, we're going to be above average for the next 5 or 6 days. So that's kind of the word on the temperatures. Our weather situation tonight is a quiet one. The sky continues to clear, and with light winds and a clearing sky and some residual moisture, we do have a recipe for some scattered fog, I think. Perhaps even a little more widespread and a little thicker than the last couple of nights. Here's the sounding tomorrow morning. If you're unfamiliar with this, there's a lot going on here, but essentially what you have here, the red line is the temperature as you go up through the atmosphere. The green line's the dew point. We live down here at the bottom of the graph, and then as you go up, that's up higher through the atmosphere. So down here near the ground, you notice there's some gray color shaded in here. That means the air is just about saturated, and we have an inversion later on tonight. In other words, the temperature warms as you go up through height, through the atmosphere, up with height through the atmosphere, I should say, and that moisture is trapped underneath that inversion. That's a good recipe for some fog. So tomorrow morning, I think the fog could be a little bit more of a problem than it has been over the last couple of mornings. So something to watch out for there. What we're going to be watching out for as we head into Friday is rain. Now, it certainly doesn't look like much now, but here's our next system. This is kind of an Alberta Clipper type system. If this were January, we'd be talking about snow squalls, but this is October, thankfully. And this is going to dive like this, kind of like an Alberta Clipper does, and bring us some showers as we go into the day on Friday. Let's show you the latest and greatest North American model here, NAM model, and bring up Friday's map. We'll start out in the morning. Here we are at daybreak right here, Friday morning. This isn't going to be a lot of rain. Certainly not a wall of water coming through, but here's our cold front pushing through. Some showers at the bus stop Friday morning and as you head off to work. And as we go into the early afternoon, here's 2 p.m. We're going to try to lose a lot of that rain by early afternoon. It's going to push south and east. There could be a shower lingering behind it, but certainly not as numerous as they were earlier in the day. And in time for high school football Friday evening, I suspect we're dry. I can't rule out a sprinkle or something like that early, but I think we're largely dry for high school football Friday evening. And then the setup for the weekend's a pretty good one. Now, Saturday's a chilly day. This is a fresh Canadian high building down, and this is going to park over us for the weekend. Saturday's below average. Saturday night, very chilly. A couple of the coldest spots could get close to 39 or 40 Saturday night. But then Sunday's just fantastic. We're going to be under the influence of that high, which is drifting east. The wind's going to come back around to the southwest. We'll get into the upper 60s with sunshine on our Sunday. When's our next chance for rain? Well, real quickly, it's next week, and it's early in the week, and it's probably going to be at night. So this is Monday afternoon. We're dry. Here's a look at... I'm sorry, I'm a day off there. This is Monday afternoon right here. We're dry with a stiff southwest breeze. That's a breezy, warm day on Monday. We'll get into the lower 70s. And then here's a look at Monday night, and this is our weak chance for showers. GFS is showing very little here, in fact, nothing. Other modeling does bring some showers down with that front Monday night, but it'll be at night, and then we're going to cool off a bit for a couple of days, Tuesday and Wednesday, as a fresh Canadian air mass builds in. And look at the snow up in Canada. That's a pretty good snowstorm up there around Hudson Bay, middle of next week. We'll be talking about that here before you know it, but that's well off into the future. Let's not focus on that. Let's focus on the good news, and the good news is that our climate models are still pointing towards a warmer than average fall, and certainly the odds are tilting towards a better winter than we've had over the last couple of years. Here's a look at November's outlook on the climate forecast system model. These are temperature anomalies showing very little cool weather across the U.S. I think this is probably overdone with the warmth, particularly in the southern tier states. I think the South could have a cool November. But up here where we live, I think the odds favor November to be at or above the average as a whole. Now, sure, there's going to be some cold days in November, but as a whole, November probably ends up being on the mild side. What about precipitation? Again, kind of a classic El Nino look here. Strong El Nino, really starting to influence the pattern a lot. So November looking kind of wet in the south and along the east coast, but dry Midwest up into the plain states. This is a classic El Nino signature. So November not likely to be particularly rainy, at least compared to average. Get some rain, sure. Might even see our first snowflakes of the year in November, but as a whole, November probably not particularly rainy. It'll be near average or maybe below average. Our official winter forecast, which covers the months of December, January, and February, will be out either at the very end of this month or the first couple of days of November. If you've been watching my videos, you know that certainly the overall idea is going to be that this winter will be a lot more tolerable than the last couple. So we'll break down all you need to know here coming up in a few weeks. That's it for tonight's Weather for Weather Geeks. I'll see you tonight on 21 News at 11 o'clock. Have a great night.